Hi ChatGPT, how are you?
Hi there. I'm doing really well. Thank you. I hope you're having a good day. Let me know what's on your mind or how I can help.
Here is Hasnan, and I want to talk about the secret to building lasting habits. Are you ready?
Absolutely. I'm ready. Let's dive into the topic of building lasting habits. Feel free to share what you'd like to know and we'll get started.
What is a habit?
A habit is essentially a behavior or action that we do regularly and often automatically, usually as a result of repeated practice. It can be something simple like brushing your teeth or something more complex like a workout routine.
What are habits important?
Habits are important because they shape our daily lives and can significantly impact our long term goals and well being. Positive habits help us become more productive, healthier, and happier, while negative habits can hold us back. Ultimately, they play a huge role in defining who we are and how we live.
What is the secret to building lasting habits?
The secret to building lasting habits often involves starting with small, manageable steps, staying consistent, setting clear and achievable goals, and creating a supportive environment. It also helps to track progress, celebrate small wins, and be patient with yourself along the way.
Why should habits start small?
Starting small makes habits more manageable and less overwhelming, which increases the likelihood of success. It helps build confidence, reduces the chances of burnout, and makes it easier to stay consistent over time. Plus, small steps allow you to gradually build momentum and adapt more easily.
What is consistency in habit building?
Consistency in habit building means regularly performing the behavior or action over time without long breaks or lapses. It's about making the habit a regular part of your routine, which helps reinforce it and eventually makes it second lasting habit.
How long does it take to build a habit?
The time it takes to build a habit can vary quite a bit depending on the complexity of the behavior and the individual. On average, it's often said to take about 21 to 66 days, but it can be shorter or longer depending on the person and the habit itself. The key is consistency and patience.
What is a good way to start a new habit?
A great way to start a new habit is to begin with something small and manageable. Clearly define your goal and choose a specific time and cue for the habit. It also helps to track your progress, celebrate small wins, and create an environment that supports that habit. Consistency and patience are key.
What is a habit stacking?
Habit stacking is a technique where you attach a new habit to an existing one. Basically, you leverage a current habit as a trigger for the new behavior. This approach makes it easier to remember and integrate the new habit into your routine, making it more likely to stick.
Why do people fail at habits?
People often struggle with habits because they set unrealistic goals, lack consistency, face too many distractions, or don't have a supportive environment. Sometimes they also lack motivation or don't track their progress, which can lead to frustration and giving up. Consistency, patience, and a clear plan are key to overcoming these challenges.
How can you make a habit easier to do?
To make a habit easier, you can start with small, manageable steps, reduce any obstacles that might get in your way, and set up a supportive environment that encourages the behavior. You can also tie the new habit to something you already do, reward yourself for progress, and keep track of your achievements to stay motivated.
What is friction in habits?
In the context of habits, friction refers to any obstacle or difficulty difficulty that makes it harder to perform a behavior. This could be anything from a lack of time, difficult access to necessary tools, or even just the effort required to get started. Reducing friction helps make the habit easier and more likely to stick.
What helps habits become automatic?
We call habits automatic when they become actions that we perform with little to no conscious thought. Over time, as we repeat a behavior consistently, it becomes ingrained in our brain, and we can do it almost instinctively without having to exert much mental effort.
How important is environment?
Environment plays a crucial role because it can either support or hinder our habits. A well designed environment makes it easier to perform positive behaviors and reduces temptation, while a challenging environment can create friction and make it harder to maintain good habits. Essentially, the right environment sets us up for success.
How can you design your environment for success?
To design your environment for success, you can start by removing any distractions or temptations that might lead you away from your habit. You can also place cues and tools within easy reach to make the desired behavior more convenient, creating a positive and motivating space and surrounding yourself with reminders and supportive elements can really help reinforce the habit.
What is a simple tracking method?
A simple tracking method could be using a habit tracker like a calendar or a journal where you mark off each day you complete your habit. You can also use simple checklists or even an app on your phone that gives you a visual representation of your progress. The key is to keep it straightforward and consistent.
Why does the 2 minute rule work?
The 2 minute rule works because it lowers the barrier to getting started. By focusing on just 2 minutes, you make the habit feel more manageable and less daunting, which makes it easier to begin. Once you start, you're often more likely to continue beyond those 2 minutes, helping to build momentum and make the habit stick.
Should you reward yourself for habits?
It's important to reward yourself because positive reinforcement helps strengthen the habit loop. When you give yourself a small reward, it creates a sense of accomplishment and makes you more likely to repeat the behavior. Over time, these positive feelings help solidify the habit and keep you motivated.
What can serve as a reward?
A reward can be something simple and enjoyable, like a small treat, a break, a favorite activity, or even just a moment of relaxation. Essentially, anything that brings you a sense of satisfaction or joy can work as a reward, helping to reinforce the habit and keep you motivated.
What is the role of identity in habits?
The rule of identity in habits is about aligning your behaviors with the person you want to become. In other words, instead of focusing solely on the outcomes, you shape your habits around your identity and who you want to be. When your habits reflect your values and identity, they become more meaningful and sustainable in the long run.
What is an identity-based habit?
An identity based habit is one that is rooted in the person you aspire to be rather than just the outcomes you want to achieve. Instead of focusing solely on what you want to accomplish, you focus on the type of person you want to become. For example, instead of saying, I want to run a marathon, you might say, I am a runner. This mindset shift helps reinforce consistent behaviors that reflect your identity, making the habit more sustainable.
Why should you focus on systems instead of goals?
Focusing on systems rather than just goals is beneficial because systems emphasize the process and the daily actions that lead to long-term success. While goals are about the outcomes you want to achieve, systems help you build sustainable habits and continuous improvement. This approach ensures that you're consistently making progress regardless of the specific outcomes, and it ultimately leads to more lasting success.
What is a habit system?
A habit system is essentially a framework or a collection of processes that support and maintain your habits every time. It involves setting up routines, removing obstacles, creating supportive environments, and consistently monitoring your progress. In other words, it's all the behind the scenes work that makes your habits more automatic and sustainable.
What helps you stay committed?
Staying committed often involves having a clear sense of purpose, setting realistic and achievable goals, tracking your progress, and celebrating small wins along the way. It also helps to have a strong support system to keep yourself accountable and to remind yourself regularly of the bigger picture and why you started in the first place.
How can accountability help?
Accountability can help by providing external motivation and support, making it easier to stay on track with your habits. When you know someone else is aware of your goals and progress, you're more likely to follow through. It can also offer encouragement, constructive feedback, and a sense of responsibility, all of which contribute to maintaining commitment and overcoming obstacles.
Should you start many habits at once?
It's generally more effective to start with one or two habits at a time. This approach helps you focus your energy and increase your chances of success, since trying to build too many habits at once can be overwhelming. Once one habit becomes more established, you can then add another, building momentum gradually and sustainably.
Why is starting with one habit better?
Starting with one habit is better because it allows you to direct your focus and energy more effectively, which makes it easier to build consistency and avoid feeling overwhelmed. It also helps you establish a solid foundation. And as that habit becomes ingrained, it's much easier to add more habits over time. This incremental approach leads to more sustainable long-term success.
What is keystone habit?
A keystone habit is a habit that has a powerful ripple effect on other areas of your life. When you establish a keystone habit, it often leads to positive changes in multiple other habits and overall well-being. For example, regular exercise can improve not just physical health, but also mental clarity, productivity, and even mood, creating a domino effect of positive changes.
What should you do when you miss a day?
When you miss a habit, it's important not to be too hard on yourself. Instead, acknowledge the slip, reflect on what caused it, and then get back on track as soon as possible. It's helpful to have a plan for how to recover and to focus on consistency over perfection. Each small step forward counts, and staying positive and persistent is key. The never miss twice rule is a principle where if you miss a habit once, you make sure not to let it happen again the next time. In other words, even if you slip up occasionally, you quickly get back on track and avoid letting it become a pattern. This approach helps maintain consistency and prevents a single lapse from turning into a bigger setback.